That's me
No,
being the default podcaster, Loona. We didn't discuss this.
Oh man. Oh man. I'm making Bella be the default podcast here, guys.
No, step up and
such a
help
bad
take
co-host.
responsibility. Hey everybody, welcome on in to our second episode of TMi MOM podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bella. Oh, we don't have your
Loona.
We don't have your camera thing up. Where's your thingy?
Oh well. I don't know. I thought it was. I wasn't even gonna ask because I know you were struggling today. So I was like, let me just not.
Oh, that's right. You have to share your thing. It's fine. It's fine. We got started.
Oh, the video. It's because I have to turn on the video.
Yeah. Please hold. Your listen is important to us. Please hold while we handle these very minor stream difficulties.
Turn on camera. Ta-da!
Full screen and hide.
I am camera. While Bella faffs around with that, welcome on in everybody to the TMi MOM podcast, a podcast where we share way too much info, and we talk about all kinds of things, and almost nothing is too much. I say almost nothing because I feel like last week on our very first episode,
oh my gosh,
Bella was like, "Okay, Loona, that's enough." So we'll almost nothing is too much. But yeah, welcome in. I'm Loona, and I'm here with a sleeping Bella. Goes by Bella. And you can find us on Twitch and Blue Sky and YouTube and the Spotify. We're on Spotify, Bella.
We're on Spotify. Very fancy.
I got it working. I'm so proud of myself. I was freaking out so much because like, no, it's uploaded. I'm like, no, it's not. Oh my goodness. But this week we have chosen to speak about insert topic here.
Whatever the hell we feel like. As usual.
No, so Bella did message me with a couple of topics. I want to say a few days ago. But yeah, I think we decided on talking about, I want to say, soft decided. I'm talking about like being the default parent and the tolls and difficulties that comes with, I guess.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah, see, I got it. I'm informed.
I mean, there was going to be some more research on it, but yeah, basically.
Oh, well.
Basically that, yeah. I have no idea how to make this go away.
I mean, I feel like, again, Bella has 3 kids. She's fairly experienced in the whole mom department. I have 1 kid. I'm, entry level experienced.
I mean, you're in the hardest mode right now. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like today is the like perfect example of like my husband goes to work. I stay at home, disability reasons, yada yada yada. And that obviously makes me a default parent. But today I just woke up so exhausted from like the past 3 weeks, I want to say. Like we just did a charity weekend, right? Which went super well, super exciting. But like, it takes energy doing a charity. It does take energy, and I love doing charities, but I already felt really exhausted the previous weeks because of several reasons, and then the charity, and I was just this morning I woke up, I'm like, I have no spoons. Like I have no energy left to give. And then the toddler woke up, and she apparently also had no spoons because she was being extra cranky. So I was like, this is great. This is exactly, cranky toddler is exactly what I need on a low spoons day, right?
Right.
So I did I don't even want to call it that, but for me, this is what I can. For me, I try to not do this very much because research, because oh, it could be bad. Oh, this and that, you know. Um, I try not to give her a lot of TV at all. Um, and today was just a TV day, and I know that should be okay, and it's fine. It's not like every day is a TV day, you know. But today was a TV day, and I feel like such a crummy bad mom because of that, and it's so stupid, and I know it's stupid, but I still can't change the way that it makes me feel.
That makes sense. That like rational or I guess irrational guilt where you know like logically it's gonna be okay. You
Mhm.
still carry that guilt. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I wonder if when I was out of town the few times and my husband let the kids probably have 8 to 12 hours of screen time, if he felt guilty about that at all. But and he might pipe up here in chat and let me know. But but that's the thing is that like there's definitely this like as a default parent, which is traditionally and typically the mom, you
Mhm.
carry this burden of shame and guilt because you're not being a mom the way society tells you to be a mom, being a mom the way like doctors are like ideally not more than 2 hours of screen time a day. Um,
Well, I mean, I'm already failing that department because, like,
oh,
technically, you're not supposed to let your toddler have any screen time until they're at least 2 years old.
oh my gosh.
You know?
It's increasingly difficult.
Yeah.
And I know that we're talking about an ideal, but never before in history have we carried around devices with shows and information in our pockets.
Mhm.
Never before have we had an entire population who spends on average, I don't even know what it is. I would guess the average is 4 hours or more a day on our personal devices. I would guess that
Oh,
most
yeah.
people who work behind a desk or spend time on the computer, it's probably closer to 10 to 12 hours a day of screen time.
Mhm.
So I don't know how we can live in what is like ideally good. Ideally, you're drinking this special crystal clear water and you're eating this pristine diet and they're getting all of their macros and nutrients from a variety of foods that you cook, that you grew in your own garden, that you know has no pesticide. Like we're talking about an ideal that is very difficult to achieve
Doesn't
in
really exist anymore, honestly.
in this current society in our current timeline.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, as stay-at-home parents, we find ourselves in a situation where we are keeping up with the high expectations of what we're doing for our toddlers, but also how clean our house is, what we're cooking, how much we're spending on what we're cooking, like the homemaker role. I think it's been like
Mhm.
talked about before, how much you should pay a stay-at-home parent. The person who does the laundry, who does the cooking, who does the grocery
Yeah.
shopping, who runs the kids to all of their errands, who's constantly on the phone making appointments. I've had 2 phone calls just today about appointments needing to be rearranged and scheduling that, and I mean, it is work. It is a job. It is a oftentimes feels like a thankless job. It's a job we don't make money to do, like, and it is an important job because if you're not doing these jobs, if someone isn't doing the laundry or sweeping the floor or watching the kids, you're paying somebody to do it.
Yep.
And and I know
Absolutely.
especially in this country, you're paying somebody more than what most moms without a degree or without experiences can earn by going to
Mhm.
work. Like right now if I got a job, I could not pay enough money to make up for what daycare would cost. So,
Yeah.
it's a
We're
lot.
fortunate in that regard here because they look at what you make, what your household makes, and they
Okay.
adjust it. And basically, the government pays the rest. Like, you get so and so much that you have to pay, and then the government pays the rest. Like, that's how we're paying for daycare right now, because otherwise
That and I mean, that makes
otherwise,
sense. Yeah,
like
otherwise you'd be in the same situation where we are, where it's like we're just SOL. If my husband made just a little bit above minimum wage and I needed to go make money, we would I don't know how much assistance there is for that. I feel like you have to be absolutely destitute to get assistance from the US government. Like
Mm.
disabled, unemployed, unemployable, like it is and even then they shame and guilt you every step of the way, which could be a
Oh,
different
yeah, that's
different
just
podcast. Different episode talking about
that's
that.
just governments
Yeah. Well,
shaming you every step of the way.
you were talking about yesterday child support,
Yeah.
which was funny because when
Um,
we had the differences in what child support is, but why don't you tell for people who don't know what child support is to
so
you?
here in Liechtenstein/Switzerland, child support, every family gets it.
Okay.
Every family gets child support. And in Switzerland, there was recently, I live in Liechtenstein, but Liechtenstein a lot of times implements the same laws and whatnot that Switzerland implements because of how small we are, right?
Yeah, you stretch
Um,
and you're actually in Switzerland. So
yeah, pretty much.
true story. I've seen it.
um, and so Switzerland recently had a vote, I guess, some sort, where households, certain households will not be getting child support anymore.
Okay.
These households that are not getting child support anymore, though, are the households that are earning 12K plus a month.
Seems like a decent cutoff. $12,000 a month for
Yeah, it
assistance.
absolutely is. Absolutely.
Based on our economy,
Like
$12,000 a month, I feel like is
for
enough to not need government assistance.
for a two-person household, the minimum existence kind of wage thing here would be 3,500.
Okay.
You're earning more than 4 times that amount at 12K, so you are way more than fine, you know?
Yeah.
So, they were complaining about that, and I was like, "Get off your flippin' high horse."
I think the
Real
closest
talk,
yeah.
I right now, I have $100 left on my account. It is the 22nd of the month. We are likely not gonna get anything until, if I'm lucky, the 27th. There is the road, tax people that owe me some money,
Okay.
but they haven't paid me back yet, so I don't know when they're planning on paying me back. If they're planning on paying me back, no freaking idea. And, and I have $100 in my account, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have no freaking idea what I'm gonna do, but you know, um, then there's people complaining that they're not getting child support, but they earn 12K a month, and I'm like, "F you!" Like seriously, F you.
Like that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard one to
Yeah.
feel concerned about
Yes,
for you. But,
absolutely.
bless. I think the closest thing we have is the tax credit where depending on how many kids you have living at home, you will get a refund on your taxes.
Mm,
It comes back to you, but it's like for a while there, they were implementing where they were doing it monthly for some people, which was really nice. So instead of getting, say, I'd say 6 grand is probably about what you can expect to get uh, if you have 3 kids. I think that's about where we have been. Maybe actual financial TMI, but like $6,000 back instead of getting it over the course of the year. But they were
mhm,
testing out during COVID, especially giving people that money monthly, and it was good. It was helpful. Instead of
yeah,
getting a lump sum, they were getting it spaced out so they could incorporate it into their bills and take care of their kids that way.
mhm,
Well, no, that didn't stick around because if somebody has a good idea in this country, we have to just but I I think that's the closest thing we have, and you still have to be earning money to get that back, I think. So,
mhm.
I don't know how that works for people who are earning under a
No, you
certain
don't have
amount.
to earn. No,
So,
you don't have to earn money here. You just, as far as I know, everybody gets the same amount, regardless of how much you're earning.
it
Child
would be
support is child
nice.
support.
Like, it would be nice to support again, especially when you have a stay-at-home parent who is doing a job,
Yeah.
it would be nice to actually, support that parent, let them
I mean,
have a
that's
little
been an
money.
argument around here on and off as well, if stay-at-home moms and stuff or stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home parents should be paid.
Yes,
And
agreed. Not just as a, bias for stay-at-home parent here, but also because it is an important job. And I don't know
well,
how daycares
honestly, I don't know
are.
about you, but like I'm constantly doing research for like first of all, I studied psychology for 5 years in college university.
Okay.
So I already have a psychology background. So I'm way more um oh my god, I'm forgetting the word now. I'm way more, I guess, knowledgeable and focused on that, on things that are good or bad
Okay.
regarding my child because I have a background in child development because of that already, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm a lot more aware of all the good and the bads and the repercussions and all that because of it. But furthermore, now that I am a parent, I'm always doing further research and I'm using all my old psychology sources again to get that research. And I feel like that's a default parent thing because the non-default parent is definitely not doing all those researches, you know?
Yes,
And
I think that falls a little bit more just into being the good stay-at-home parent, because a default parent can also be the parent who works. Could also be a parent who
I get
works.
yeah,
If you both
yeah,
work, the default parent is the one who sacrifices their career, who uses their PTO, who knows all that.
yeah,
Like, that's the default parent. But what you're
mhm,
talking about is more even like the really good expert stay-at-home parent, like an ideal stay-at-home parent. Basically, you have education, you have know-how, and you have a strong desire to see your child have the best start in life that you can give them. I feel like that
mhm,
is like making being a stay-at-home parent a career. I'm going to
well,
have the best foundation for these children so that they can go forth into the world and be healthy and be happy and be prepared.
mhm,
We want that from parents.
mhm.
You laugh.
Yeah, I don't know, like in spite of that, like knowing things and applying them are two different over here we say two different pairs of shoes. I can't think of the equivalent English
Like your
saying right
house
now, sorry.
shoes and then your go outside shoes or your snow
Yeah, like,
boots.
I've been talking German all day with Libby, so I'm like I'm in my brain is still in German
That's
mode,
okay.
and I'm struggling a little bit. Um, but it's like it's just two different things, right? You know, you knowing the things and you applying the things, right?
Yes.
Applying that knowledge to different things, and I think that's where my what I struggle with a lot with like the mom guilt because I'm like I know like I shouldn't be giving her TV. I know I should be giving her all these veg and all these berries and all these da 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 and all this, and then I should go on a daily walk with her and I should do this and that. You know, like the list is endless. But I'm like, one, physically, I literally cannot go on a daily walk with her. And like I said, today I just didn't have the spoons. And like I said before, I don't have the funds right now to be buying all fresh berries and all fresh veg. So today she has literally had bread for the most bit because that's all she would eat and the little bit of leftover berries and the banana that we had. Like that's all she had. And I'm like, I know that's not great. And I'm trying really hard not to beat myself up about that. And that's
Well,
where the guilt comes in, isn't
yeah.
it? Like,
Well, yeah, that
yeah.
is. That is where the guilt comes in. But here's okay, putting myself back into Luna's shoes. Well, okay, like a kid at home, not even two. My husband's gone all day. I feel really isolated. I'm alone in the house. I'm struggling with my chronic health issues. Putting myself back into your shoes. I got to a point where I was feeling so much guilt over the things I couldn't do that I actually gave myself a mental breakdown. And I ended up going to like 6 weeks of cognitive behavioral therapy. And one of the things, like, as I basically described what you're describing to my therapist, to this person, is like, you are shoulding all over yourself. Which I'm
Mhm.
sure she thought was just like the most clever thing. But do you know how many times you said should? I should be doing this. She should be eating berries, and she should be going for walks every day, and she shouldn't be watching like instead of saying, I know that fresh air is good for her, so we're getting out a couple times a week as I'm able to. And I know that fresh fruit is best for her. So I'm getting that to her as much as I can, but fed is
Mhm.
best.
Mhm.
I believe my oldest, who we think is on the spectrum, she wanted to eat macaroni and cheese, chocolate milk, and hot dogs. Basically ages 3 to 6. That is what she wanted to eat. We could get some yogurt in there every once in a while. We could get some applesauce in there every once in a while. But we took her to the doctor regularly to make sure that she was still healthy. And she was.
Mhm.
And the doctor's like, fed is best. Just like formula versus breast milk, goldfish versus organic crackers. Like, it's literally fed is best.
Mhm.
Now, we know that we should be getting more nutrients in there. Well, guess what? I've sneaked in a multivitamin for all of them because I'm not going to hold them down and force spinach into their mouth. I'm not, but I make it. I get them to try it and then I tell them to go eat whatever the hell they want. Like I
Mhm.
I made a healthy meal. It has nutrients in it that you should have. Take a couple bites. You think it's disgusting? Go have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm not making it at this
Yeah.
point in time because my youngest is 9. I can say I'm not making it and I'm not cleaning up after it because I've got my own stuff to do here. But you tried that salad I was talking about for Easter that I made. It was like it's goat cheese and arugula and spinach and pomegranate kernels, like a really fancy butternut squash, really fancy,
Ooh.
delicious salad, which I ate
They
so
wouldn't eat
much
it.
of. They tried it.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
good, right?
And the boy, he was like, "Oh, I like these like what did he say? Oh, these pomegranates are so good. Such a good choice," or something like that. It was really cute. He had a few bites with the spinach or maybe even just one. I don't know. And then he was like, "Not my favorite, mom." And so he didn't eat. Asked him to eat what he did like in it. So he ate all the pomegranate kernels. And that was pretty much it. But like he tried it with the dressing on it. It's something that hit his palate. He's experienced it. He watched me eat a giant bowl of it. And then I came back and ate more because it was just such a good salad. And it's those things where it's like he's been exposed to it. It's available to him.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, what he would rather have is ramen noodles. He would rather eat the frozen he made me buy these frozen yogurts that come in a tube so he can take them in his school
Mm.
lunch. And I have like just today even, my middle child knows what I expect when they're making their lunches, which maybe I should make their lunches for them. I don't, but they're 12 now. They can make their own lunches. They packed
I think
chips.
that's fair.
They packed soda, which they're not ever supposed to take soda to school. Soda is at home on the weekends only because I have had problems in the past. Anyway, so there were
Mhm.
potato chips and soda and I think a granola bar. And I was like, this is not lunch. This is not lunch.
No.
This is not food. This is not what you've been taught to eat. Where's the protein? Where's the fiber? This is just sugar, 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 and carbs. And they get to make these choices
Mhm.
for themselves. Like all I can do, all either of us can do is buy what we can afford that's healthy and then put these options in front of them and let them decide.
Yeah.
I got a little bit too detailed on this food thing. But like we can't say uh should be doing different because there's only so much we can do. And my
Mhm.
motto has always been, when I can, I do. And that's how I try to alleviate some of this guilt and stress I put on myself. Like yesterday, I couldn't do much at all. I had a migraine. I woke up with a migraine. I forced myself to go do a grocery run, and then I had to come home and just lay down. I swear I spent 12 hours in bed yesterday, and then I slept a full night's sleep because I had a migraine.
Oh
That's what
my.
happens. And normally those days would just leave me feeling worthless. Like, I should have gotten up. I should have done more. I need to do the dishes. I need
Yeah.
to clean, and those with the chronic illness side of things, like I know all moms struggle with this, but with the chronic illness side of things, we struggle with it more because we feel like we're double
It's
failing.
yeah, it's our mental health and our physical health just is not aligning at all,
Yeah.
you know?
But what have you done about it? Do you just sit there and moan and groan? Or have you gone to the doctor? Have you tried medications? Have you tried procedures? Have you It's not something we chose, and it's not something we're choosing to ignore. We have
Mhm.
done all the things we need to do to try to get these medical issues addressed. I went from having 2 weeks a month of migraines to having migraines intermittently a couple of times a week. And it's a huge
I
difference.
remember when we first, like, started talking, you had migraines left and right,
Yeah,
like,
it was even
it
worse
was
before I
bad,
met
it was
you.
really bad.
I basically was
Um,
24/7 in migraine cycle.
oh my god.
Yeah. I was either like coming out of it feeling weird and sick and yucky, or I was in the middle of like lights would cause me to just shut down and I couldn't talk and I couldn't function. Like it's
Mhm,
managed as much as I can get right now,
mhm.
as much as insurance will allow. And even beyond. I've done things, we've paid out of pocket for stuff that works. Um it's not covered by insurance because it's important,
Sometimes you have to, yep.
but I can't cure myself. Nobody can cure me or I'd be cured. If somebody said, "Here's a cure for migraine, but you're gonna have to go you're gonna have to pay this much," or we'd make it happen pretty much, unless it was like give up a kid. So, but that's the thing. We didn't choose to have these illnesses. We didn't choose to be sick. We may have chosen
Mhm.
to have kids, but honestly, I honestly did
Do you
not
ever
know I was gonna be this
do
sick
you
before I had kids.
do you ever get guilt tripped by doctors about having kids in your condition?
No, because mine is different. Um, yours is very visible, right? Which is stupid. You're a
Yeah.
good mom, and no physical disability is gonna stop someone from being a good mom. Like, just not the mom that everybody else is, right? Even
Oh
then,
my god, they're so oh my god. So, like, we're gonna this is gonna be a very rambly, ranty podcast today, I think. We're
that's what I
gonna
get for not
kind of
preparing.
encroach on all of the topics that we had. Because we literally what were our topics right now? Let me quickly have a look at them.
The ones I
Um
carefully laid out for you last week. Not me calling Luna out here.
It's my fault that we are not on track today, okay? Absolutely my fault. I'll take 100% culpability for it. Um,
I could have
but yeah, Bella laid out pain, chronic illnesses, and the moms were supposed to be was one option. Two, default parenting on the clock 24/7 and the toll that takes. And three, momming the mom when you're trying to gentle parent a kid, a parent, and yourself all at the same time. I feel like we're pretty much the top two today so far, at least. And I think that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I I mean, you know that a few like last year, I went to a doctor about something and he basically told me like this was someone who I was gonna make like my main doctor, my GP, if you will. Um and I went there for like our first like meet, our full checkup thing, everything, and he wanted to prescribe me something that would help me, would have helped me maybe with my weight problems, and he said that I need to be sure that I don't want any more kids after that. I was like, I mean, this was shortly after I had Livy, so I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure if I'm done having kids. Like, part of me is still like, I want, like, I've always dreamed of having 2 kids. I don't know if
Okay.
I want 2 kids because, well, several reasons now, honestly. But,
So much work,
um,
so much money.
it's exactly, it's that. It's more the money than anything because I wanna be able to, like, provide something, you know?
Makes
Um,
sense.
but yeah. So I was like, "I honestly, I don't know, I can't tell you." And he was like, "Well, you shouldn't." And I was like, "Uh." And he basically said, "In my condition, it was irresponsible for me to have a kid at all because what kind of childhood can I even offer that kid?"
That's bullshit.
And for listeners, viewers, whatever, that don't know what my condition is I forgot the official term for it, but nobody knows the official term anyways. I was basically born with my right leg shorter than my left leg because my thigh and hip didn't fully develop in my mother's womb. So I have scoliosis and various back issues, and I have to wear an prosthesis to be able to walk and all that jazz. And because of that, apparently I shouldn't be a mom.
I mean, all of those things can be genetic, right? So that can be a concern where it's like, oh, maybe your child has sclerosis, but there is early screening and early intervention. Like, there's so much now versus when you were even a child that they can
Hmm.
do to help. And honestly, that's like saying your life isn't a full and healthy life. And from what I know of you, you live a very full and healthy life. Who's to say what's a full and healthy life? Like,
Hmm.
are we doing cussing in this podcast, or are we supposed to be like,
I refrain from cussing because of you, because I know you feel
I feel wet?
certain ways about cussing.
Well, I do think that when you start cussing, it changes like it from like general listening to like explicit listening. So we'll
I
refrain
mean, I don't
just
think any kids should be listening to this podcast. Just gonna put that out there. This is not a kid-friendly podcast, and not, at least
I
not
don't
the
know. Some of
topics.
this information could be helpful, but yeah, fair enough. Basically though, F those doctors. What do they know?
Yeah.
What like they know plenty, but who are they? Who is anyone to tell another person that your life is not meaningful? You didn't have a meaningful childhood. You didn't have a good life, and you won't be able to give that to your kids. Like I have seen Livy. I listen to Livy in the background. She is a healthy, happy, beautiful child. She has a wonderful mom. She has good parents. She's having a good childhood. So don't don't chirp on me though. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm trying. I'm really trying right
You
now.
are the second person. Someone else just this week, I won't say who, was talking about how somebody was telling her due to her mental health issues that she should not be a mom. And I was like, imagine telling somebody who has a degree, several degrees in difficult fields, who is medicated, who is self-aware enough to get therapy, who regularly goes to therapy, who is trying to take care of her health. Imagine telling that person you shouldn't have a child because you can't handle it, and what, your kid might struggle with some of the same stuff you struggle with. Well, I don't wish that on my kids. I don't wish my kids to have anxiety, ADHD, sleep disorders, any of those things. And I didn't know I had any of those things when I chose to start having kids because I honestly was very young and hadn't really gotten into diagnoses yet. But who better to raise kids like that than someone who is knows I have it? I'm going to doctors, I'm getting help, I'm doing everything that I can. Who better to raise kids like that? They're out there in the world somewhere. These kids
Hmm.
exist, and they exist with
Hmm.
parents who have no idea what their kids are dealing with, don't know, don't care. I know because I had parents like that. They could not understand me, they could not relate to me. They called me lazy, they put me down,
Hmm.
not intentionally, not cruelly. I don't want to make it seem like I had the worst parents ever because I didn't. But as far as like having understanding, Just get over it. Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just stop
Yeah.
it. All unhelpful. All
Yeah.
unhelpful. So, who better to raise a kid than somebody who has overcome, somebody who is reflecting, somebody who is growing, somebody who has gone through it and has compassion for other people and not just, well, get over it. I got over it. I got told to get over it. I'm going to tell you what my parents told me. Get over
Mhm.
it. So,
The
it's,
truth of it
yeah,
is that a lot of our parents, like, we only start being more aware of, ADHD, autism, anxieties, other mental health disorders and stuff, kind of within the last, I wanna say 10, 15 years.
that tracks.
Um, and I mean, psychology is a very young science for reasons, and you can see that, and you can see that in our parents. Like, so many times I talk to my mom, mom's like, "Oh my god, everybody's got like autism and ADHD nowadays. You guys are all just looking for excuses," and I'm like, like, it makes me groan, you know? And again, like, same as well. I don't consider my mom a bad person or anything like that. I adore my mom, but you can tell that they just didn't grow up with the knowledge that we possess nowadays. And nobody back then would have told them, oh, you're a bad parent because of your mental health, because to them back then, mental health just was not a topic,
Right?
you know?
Shameful secrets. Do you have any family
So
secrets like that where sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but just like I'm thinking about
mhm.
how there are some family stories on my side of the family, like grandma went off to a spa. My
No.
broke grandma with like probably 8 or 9 kids at the time went off to a spa, or my another some distant relative, like great great grandma, who dumped red paint all over herself and went driving in her sedan or something. Like the stories that are talked about like they're funny and cute, and you look back and you realize she was having a mental breakdown. She was
Yeah.
having an absolute mental breakdown and she got sent away to deal with it. She's probably lucky she didn't get lobotomized. Hell, maybe some of my
I
relatives did get lobotomized. I don't know. Like,
I I don't have anything like that. But I remember when I was a kid, there was a close family friend who
Mhm.
I hung out with her kids. Like, my dad and her husband were like super close. They went to school together and everything. So like we kind of just their kids and I just kind of grew up together until we moved. But that's another thing. Anyways, and she has a lot of mental health issues, a lot of anxieties to the point where there were several years that she just would not leave her house anymore because she was too anxious for like over everything basically. And I remember distinctively is whenever I said, "Oh mom, I don't want to go there, mom, I'm afraid, mom, I'm uncomfortable," was, "Oh, don't start becoming like what are we gonna name her? I only have Karen. That's a terrible that's a terrible
Tammy,
name
go
for
Tammy.
but Tammy. Don't become like Tammy. You know, like that was like always a
Don't be like
thing.
Aunt
Um,
Tammy.
and I hate that that was a thing because I feel like it backfired in part because
Okay.
it gave me so much anxiety to not become afraid of everything that I started becoming very hyper aware of what everybody thinks about you.
Mm, that's another unhealthy mindset that both my parents had. It's not really about what you do, not completely, but what other people think of you is very important. Even when you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if other people don't know that, that's bad. Like to be hyper aware of other people's opinions, I don't know if I will ever completely shake that concern. Like,
I
I
don't
know
think I
you're
ever will.
probably, yeah, I know you're a lot like me in
There's
that.
zero help. There's zero hope for me in that regard. Like I've given up. There's. I feel like as I grow older, I give less of a damn about it. Like, there's
Put
just
less
some things I'm like,
energy
you know what?
into it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, I don't think I'll ever not care. And I hate that because essentially it's your life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry to be like really gloomy for a moment here, but like, if you die tomorrow, does it really matter what, I don't know, XYZ person that you crossed in the supermarket thought of you that day?
Or
Like, it shouldn't matter, you
yeah.
know? It shouldn't matter. And for some stupid reason, it does. Like,
Yeah.
okay. We have a supermarket close to us that I
Okay.
have never gone to, ever,
Why is that?
because I'm too afraid of bumping into people that I might know from my childhood, and then they'll strike up conversation, and I'll be awkward, and yeah.
Sorry, I'm just, going back to those moments where I had that happen and I was hella awkward and like your worst fear confirmed. Basically,
Yeah. Hmm.
you will be awkward because we don't know
Yeah.
how not to be awkward. So,
I bumped into my cousin in the store the other day. We go to the store next town over, and I forgot that that's the store that he goes into too. And so far, it's been good. We've not bumped into him once, but last week we bumped into him, and he's like, "Oh my God, Luna, hi!" And I'm like, "Oh," like
no.
inside, I just like, you know, and you just feel like everything inside just caving in, just everything tumbling down. The end, it's over.
Oh boy. I don't
That's how I felt, and I was like, "Hi!" with like the biggest smile on my face, but I was, oh my God, like I could not get out of there fast enough, you know?
I don't have any cousins like that, but I always feel the same way when I run into like people from high school, which is saying something because I only had like
Ugh.
26 kids in my graduating class. So to run into somebody that I knew from my high school class, it was like lightning striking, even though I don't live far from where I went to school. A lot of them ended up settling in this area. But it's always really weird to me where it's like, oh, out of, the hundreds of thousands of people that I could have run into today, I run into one of 25 people. Hi.
Yeah.
So, and just have this awkward moment where you recognize each other. I've actually gotten to the point where I might recognize people, but I very pointedly am like, no, like, oh yeah, I know you're from my high school. We haven't talked in 20 years. We
And I'm like,
haven't
what
kept
is
up.
that?
Like, we're not friends. We can be like, "Oh, I recognize you," and move on with our day. Like, we don't need
Yeah.
to chit chat. And I don't want to be in Walmart. Like, Walmart is a horrible place. I don't want to be in Walmart any longer than I have to. And I certainly don't need to talk to you with my messy bun and no makeup and my sweatpants. Like, cool. I saw you. Move on.
But like,
I'm
what
done.
is that? Why do we have such a societal pressure to talk to people that we haven't spoken to? Like, I'm not close with my family. I was never, we always had a very weird relationship, even when I was little. And then we moved away, and then we just completely fell apart. And we're not close to each other at all. Like, I haven't spoken to these people in like pretty much the entire time that Fonzie and I have been together, which is about 10 years now.
Long
Like, we haven't
time.
really spoken in 10 years. The only one I speak to frequently is my aunt. My door,
Who's
we have a good relationship, but that's it.
involved, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she's involved, and she makes sure that she's involved. She puts an effort into it. But like, I very much like, my mom has always been like, "Oh, but they're family, you know, you
Their
should put some effort
family.
in." Like, I'm done. And I adapted this mindset when I turned 30. 30 is a great age,
But
just
just
telling
a
you guys.
couple years. Okay. Go ahead. Not that long ago.
Yeah, not that long ago. Absolutely not that long ago. Um, but I was like, if somebody doesn't put effort into me at all, if somebody doesn't reach out at all ever, why the hell should I reach out? Why do people constantly expect me to care if nobody else cares?
I think that's a fair question. I mean, you can get into
And I know
like
you
how
have to
many
put in some
times,
effort
yeah,
to see if they'll reciprocate and
yeah,
stuff. Completely
reciprocity.
understand that.
Love that word.
Congrats on getting a plushie. Um, and it's just like, okay, bluntly speaking, they didn't even call me when my uncle died.
Like, they didn't let you know it
I found
happened?
out that my uncle died from my ex.
Aw.
So these people clearly
Ugh,
do not care. They
no.
don't give a sorry rat's ass about
Or
me.
they
So
don't think
why
about
should
you.
I care?
Yeah. You're not someone they care about enough to put the effort into. And I feel
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm gonna do that thing I do where I'm like, we should do this for another podcast and we should think of like this is when
Absolutely,
I
I
told you I
swear.
wanted to do some research. This one especially the breaking down of the family dynamics. What does it even
Mhm.
mean to call somebody family? Because I've gone through some weird stuff. I have a very big extended family. I have over 50 cousins and
I'm not
there's
gonna
only
lie.
one I talk to. So
Yeah,
like
not gonna lie. This might seem weird to you, but to me, you are more family than those people.
it doesn't
Like
seem
you
weird to
know
me.
more to me about me, and I care more about you than I care about. I don't know them. I essentially do not know them. You know.
Yeah. And I get that. And I feel very similarly, by the way. So,
Hmm.
um, but I think that this is something I'd like to have, like, I'd like to do a little research into because not only could we
Mhm.
share some of our experiences, but we could also learn a little bit. So I'll be
Yeah.
excited to jump into that. I might share some stuff with you beforehand so we can talk about it more in depth. But I'd
I'm
absolutely
sorry. This
love
April
to.
has just been very busy. I'm
I know
sorry.
you don't have to be. You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to be sorry. I'd only vented a little bit to my husband. I'm like, she just got back to me and it's an hour before stream. Just a little bit. It's fine.
I
He's
was like, I
used to
can hear
it.
her. I was like, nobody was home, but I thought to myself, I can hear her
You
vent
can
right
hear
now.
her.
I can hear her vent right
She's
now.
driving me crazy. Well, at least I'm letting you know. And I'm trying to be nice about it because I don't need you. I don't need to put any more stress or guilt on you. This is supposed to be something that's a passion project that
Hmm.
we're doing together, but it shouldn't feel it might feel like sometimes we're pushing ourselves to do it, but it shouldn't feel guilt and shame and an
Yeah,
excessive amount of stress for it because that's not what we want to do for ourselves. I don't ever want to do that for you. So,
I appreciate that.
well, I mean, that's pretty basic. And that's something else we'll talk about when we get to our why families are the way they are because honestly, how hard is it to say to somebody, I don't want to cause I care about your feelings and I don't want to cause you pain and strife. Like how hard is that? How why is that
I've said that.
unusual? Like
I've said that to family members before. You know what I got in return?
what?
Oh, you're just saying that to avoid conflict.
No, me saying that is me putting that out there, and you saying that back to me tells me you don't give a damn about me and my feelings. So,
Mhm.
anyway, so coming soon
Family podcast
to
coming up soon.
the discussion of family. What does it even mean anyway? So back to our chronic illness, fall parenting, and mom guilt.
This is
Segue
why I told you
here.
I can't take the lead.
We're doing it
That's
together.
exactly it.
We're doing it together. This is why you have to pick, though. This is why you have to help pick because otherwise it just feels like
That's fair.
me bossing you, and then you show like, okay, Bella's in charge. I don't want to be in charge. That's me
No,
being the default
I.
podcaster, Loona. We didn't discuss this.
Oh man. Oh man. I'm making Bella be the default podcast here,
No,
guys.
step up
I'm
and
such a
help
bad
take
co-host.
responsibility. Husband, are you still here? Because this next part might, I don't know if you're going to love this part, but I love you.
Uh oh.
So,
Uh oh.
speaking of
Uh
things that
oh.
you don't think about as default parenting, he's here. All right.
Husbands, if you're listening, we love you.
Yes, we love you.
Probably for the most part.
This is the disclaimer. As far as husbands go, being involved in what's happening, being willing to put up with my insanity, like my husband's top tier. Okay, he's great.
Absolutely.
I firmly believe that the issues that we face with the default parenting is something that is generational, something that they're taught,
Mhm,
something
mhm.
that maybe us as young, like I was a young mom, I didn't know how to be married, I didn't know how to take care of kids, that I started us off on the wrong foot and we've never really recovered from. There's a lot to it. But here is an example of how frustrating it can be to be the default parent. last night after, the migraines, and I'm laying in bed and I'm just, if you don't know how my migraines feel, it's like sometimes it's just extreme sensitivity to light, sounds, and smells. Yesterday it was
Mhm.
just pain from the top of my head down through my spine. Like I can actually still feel it today in
Ooh.
my spine. And every sensation just felt like sandpaper on my skin. Clothes, like I was just sensoried out. Everything was malfunctioning. And it's exhausting. Pain is exhausting. So,
Yeah.
husband gets off of work. He's been working from home. He won't be for much longer, so that's going to be another exhaustion for him. But I see that he's off work because I see in Discord he's started up his game. That's fine. But it is coming on
Mhm.
6 o'clock. The kids have school the next day. They haven't had dinner because I haven't been out of bed to make them dinner. So I just poke him and I go, "Hey, you done with work?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, "Okay, well, the kids need dinner." And I said, "There's
Mhm.
taco meat." In our house, when I say there's taco meat, I mean I have prepared. It's ground up, it's got the seasoning, it's ready to just pop in the microwave for like 10, 15 seconds,
I know exactly where
slap
this
it
is
on
going.
slap it on a tortilla, add, like I think we even have a bag of grated cheese. Like it literally, the kids could have fed themselves, but they have been really stubborn in the evenings. They kind of need someone to basically lead them to their food. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, there's taco meat and the kids need dinner." And he's like, "Okay, what exactly do you need me to do?" I can go back and read this text message exchange just to make sure I'm not like exaggerating it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm
Oh,
laughing. I'm not I've noticed it's become my new coping thing where when I relate to something or something's happening that really frustrates me, I just laugh because like
okay.
what are you gonna do? You
So
know?
it's a little more simple, but basically he's like, "Yes, I'm with work, we doing leftovers." I'm like, "Yes, tacos." He's like, "Well, what can I do to help with feeding children's?" I was like, this is where I was like, "Gather them to the table. Place the meat and cheese before them. Tell them to eat." That is the exact exchange. And again, I love my husband. He's like, "All right, I'm on it." But I had to type that out. I
Yeah.
couldn't just say, "Feed the kids, there's tacos." I had to
Yeah.
like
Well, and I feel like that's the thing with being sorry. Because I feel like I have the exact same conversation with my husband several times a week.
probably our husbands are
Basically,
very
whenever he's in
similar.
charge, that's the conversation we have. Um, um, but that's the thing with like default parent. Like you were again, I'm not trying to like shit on everybody here, but like, some like for me, I mean it's for me as well, but like you were in bed. For me, sometimes like I'm working or I'm
Yeah.
in bed I'm in pain, and it's like there's food in the fridge. There's a bunch of things that you can do. You can warm up things. You can look in the freezer. We always have some freezer food on hand just in case, you know. And I'm like, okay, what do you like? Sometimes like I'll before I start work or something, I'm like, okay, what do you need me to help you with before I leave, essentially? And he's like, oh no, it's okay, I got it. And then like dinner time rolls, and I'm like, I look at the clock, I don't hear him. I'm like, hmm. Okay, let's give him a little bit longer. Oh, 30 minutes later, I still don't hear any noise coming from the kitchen. I'm like, ahem. So I start messaging him. And then he's like, oh, yeah, but I don't know what to make. And I'm like, we have this, we have that. Okay. And still don't hear anything coming from the kitchen. I'm like, and you have to like spell it out. You really have to spell it out. And the reason I'm bringing this up with default parenting is because you always have one ear paying attention to what's going on.
Yes.
It's like last week we had a little spat, we had a little argument. And I was like, one of these days, I'm just gonna go to my mom's for a week in Spain, and I'm gonna leave you and the kid here, and you will have to learn how to fully cope and parent all by yourself. I was really
Uh,
mad. But I feel like that is such a I don't feel like that sentiment was unjust. I was just very done. It was a very busy week. I had migraines. I was sick in and out. I was fighting a cold last week in between all the charity stuff. Um, and yeah, and I was just very done.
and
And so
that's
I snapped.
but that's where it's like, if we were not chronically ill, we probably would be like, all right, this is our job anyway, and we just do it. As housewives
Yeah.
of old have done for decades. Uh, Wismac, who is what I know, he's a wonderful guy, a caring dad, a good husband, and he says, I feel for you both. Me and my wife do the same thing. We boys need specific directions. We're bred to do the minimal effort in everything. And that is the problem,
Mhm.
because it takes two people to decide to have a baby.
Mhm.
And in a partnership where you're raising kids, it really shouldn't be, men go work, make money, woman stay home in kitchen. Like we're so past that. We're
Blah,
so
blah.
past that.
Sorry.
And I get that it makes sense that because I don't have a job, I don't have a day job, that I'm on the phone with the doctors and I'm making the appointments and I'm keeping track of who needs to go where and I'm doing the
Mhm.
grocery orders but it's still, that is a full-time job, and then I'm still managing my chronic illnesses on top of it.
Yeah.
My husband didn't know I had chronic illnesses when he married me. I don't know if he would have married me if he had known. I don't know. Can't unring that bell. We can't go back in time. We can't figure out what we would have done differently. But choosing to stay means that is our reality.
Yeah.
There is so many days. Sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's, weeks where I'm not functional. I hate it. It
Yeah.
gives me absolute depression when
Oh,
I
same.
yeah, like you have stuff you want to get done. I sit in bed and I look at my messy bedroom because I actually have been a little bit depressed with everything going on. And I want to just take care of everything. But then my ADHD kicks in and I start taking care of one thing. And the next thing I know, I'm doing something completely different. I've literally had that thing where you're like, I need to clean the bathroom, and somehow I end up painting the wall in my office. Like, I don't know how that happens, but it has literally happened. And I can't undo that programming, and I understand that men are not going to be able to undo that programming, but it's something that we should be changing up starting like now, like with my son.
We're
With
aware of it.
Yeah, we're aware
You're
of
aware
it.
of it, therefore do something about it.
Teach your kids not to accept partners who give minimal effort in a partnership. Like,
Mhm.
don't settle for somebody who does the bare minimum, or
Set the
you're going to end
example.
up giving more.
I think for me the big one is be the example. Set the example that you want your kid to, if you want your kid to value themselves, I think. Take this with a grain of salt. But I think if you want your kid to value themselves, their person, and you know, not let other people take them for granted, you need to display that with yourself and your partner. Treating each other with respect, acknowledging each other's feelings, acknowledging each other's shortcomings, all of that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's my thought behind it. Like, um, hey, if you want to be a shitty person, don't be surprised if one day your kid ends up with a shitty person because that's all they've seen all their
Yeah.
lives.
What
Like,
they've taught is
yeah.
acceptable. And it can be difficult. Um, a lot of, and I don't have any research to back this up, just anecdotal evidence. So, but a lot of what I see when people are talking, a lot of men are like, well, I don't try because everything I do is wrong. And we as women need to be careful
Sounds
and
like,
mindful,
a,
because
yeah.
we do tend to get a little bit frustrated and hypercritical. But please keep in mind that's also a learned response. When we're asking for specific things and we're getting like so much like pushback where we're over explaining everything to the point where it's like, let me just do it myself, it
Mhm.
gets frustrated, it gets exhausting, and it feels like we're learning and growing and we're trying to pull everybody up with us instead of other people having the desire to learn and grow and match that
Mhm.
energy. So, uh, there's going to be communication failures in partnerships. There's going to be things we need to unlearn. This is why I firmly believe everyone should try marriage counseling. Just, just even to
Absolutely.
just check in and make sure everything's healthy. Like if everything seems perfect and fine, fine. But uh, it's typically not a bad idea to have somebody that kind of is helping you both check in, make sure you're feeling
Mhm.
satisfied.
It's
But
also about that having a neutral third person that doesn't know either of you on a personal level. They have a different insight and see things more clearly than what you guys might be able to see because you're in the midst of it. You're in the heat of it.
you're caught up on things.
Yeah.
Or, like me and my husband married for 18 years. That's 18 years of stuff to
It's a
overcome,
long time.
obstacles or like
Yeah.
fights, frustrations, things that we assume about each other because when you spend 18 years with somebody, you're going to feel like you know them really well and you might stop asking and you might stop checking in to see how things have changed.
Mhm.
So, there's if there's no growth in 18 years, then, yeah, you probably know them really, really well. But tastes change, things change, people grow, and if they don't, then pretty boring, real. But teach their own. For me, I've really taken this like growing and learning new things and being able to continue and change, evolve, you know? But that's
Yeah. Sorry.
it feels very sad to me when people are like, this is good enough. I'm just gonna stay here forever. And I feel like that's a lot of like our parents even. They're like, I got to this place. It's good enough. I don't need to grow and change. And I kind of feel like I'm not gonna be done growing and changing ever, hopefully. I want to be an old lady who's constantly learning new things and trying new things and
Absolutely. But also I do want to say that there is such a thing like I notice this about myself whenever I am watching romance chick flicks if you will,
okay.
movies. We always see these guys doing these unrealistic grand gestures, and you're like, "Oh, wow. Why is my partner not doing this?" Oh, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like we kind of sometimes start looking for problems where there isn't really any. Does that make sense?
Yes. If you're looking for the romance, like what you see in the shows, like the boom box
Yeah.
on the shoulder or the showing up on a horse and sweeping you away, or even just like the crazy
And, like,
romantic
no to
gestures.
like, anybody out there, I guarantee I mean, maybe not guarantee, I mean, I don't know. I can't guarantee because maybe some people might actually not like that, but, like, I know that if, like, if my husband ever came rolling in on a horse with a chariot and was like, "Let's go on a ride," and whatnot, I'd be, "Yeah. Heck yeah, let's do that." Yeah. But I don't know where I was going with this, I'm sorry, go on.
You were basically saying we shouldn't be looking for problems where there aren't problems. That there are things that you see that aren't real, social media, movies, and to
Yeah,
want what isn't real, to want the fantasy is not
yeah.
healthy, especially not, I would say, after 18 years of marriage, wanting suddenly something very different. But I'm going to meet you with something else. So,
Mm,
when, you know, things got stressful and I started having some struggles in my relationship with my husband, he knows we've already talked about all of this. But I asked him recently, I said, you're on your phone a lot. When you're scrolling through your phone, How much does any of your algorithm show you how to work on your relationship advice, relationship suggestions, improving your marriage, strengthening your marriage? How much of your algorithm shows you things like that? And he's like, none. I was like, it's probably at least 50% of my algorithm. So just keep none. Wismac also says none. And that's frustrating because I don't know if anybody else, uh, anyone, no one has to answer this. If your wife has struggled and told you she's struggling with your relationship, feeling that things are stagnant, things aren't growing, things aren't healthy, and
She's researching.
you're not looking this up. You're not using some
Yeah.
of your extensive screen time to just
Mhm.
pop into like how to improve my relationship. My wife says she's struggling in our marriage. What do I do? Put it into Google. This isn't I have a weird mole on my back. Is it cancer? Don't do that in Google. Literally. Type that into Google and start looking, start scrolling, start seeing what works, start seeing what you're willing to do, what you think might help. Bring it up to your wife,
Mhm.
talk to her about it, because it is frustrating to me that is obviously something I have been engaging with regularly, because whenever I scroll my Instagram reels or TikTok, I've got some guy who's like, or some girl, somebody who's like, okay, if your marriage is struggling or your relationship is struggling, here's some ideas on how to get things back onto track, how to work on your communication skills. Like, I have it coming at me regularly because I see a problem, and obviously, like, I see a problem, so I want to work on it. But to know
And
that
find
my
solutions.
partner is hearing my wife is having a problem, and that's not something that he's getting engagement with, not something that he's
Mhm.
spending any of his time or energy on. That's
Mhm.
frustrating. Like, it's not like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
leaving, how dare," but it's kinda like, there's a difference
That's
here.
a good point. That's
Match
a
my
really
energy.
good point. I feel like honestly, I don't think I've ever thought about asking, "What's your algorithm like?" But in today's day and age, that makes so much sense because, like, yeah, if I check my YouTube, TikTok, whatever, I feel like I don't have don't wanna say 50, but I do watch relationship advice and stuff like that, not because I feel like we're struggling, but just because I feel like it's important to practice healthy habits, and so I do look those things up. And I do wanna say my algorithm's probably about, I wanna say 50% child development stuff,
Yeah, that tracks.
25 relationship advice, and 25% gaming, something like that, you know?
How to talk to your
Um
teens about anything, that kind of stuff pops up regularly, and then just basically a lot of stupid how to get your house clean and organized, that pops up a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that too, yeah, and, like, little cooking hacks and stuff, yeah, those things. But absolutely, and that's just again, I feel like all this is, like, a kinda full circle moment as well. You talk with the algorithm, like, the child stuff. Yeah, they don't have that. You're right, they probably
They're
don't.
oh,
I don't
they're not looking into
like,
it,
I'm
no.
assuming right now, but I can almost guarantee if I go ask Fonzie, "Do you have any kind of, child developments, you know, kind of TikToks, whatnot on your algorithm?" He'd probably say no,
How
because he
how
never sends me
to
any of them.
how to have a healthy 2-year-old, suggestions on ways to engage with your 2-year-old, how to make sure you have a healthy relationship with your toddler going forward, like, what to expect when your child is like, all of that. They're things that they're
Mhm.
not stressed about, they're not thinking about. And I
I
know
wanna be that.
they've gotten a pass. It's mostly men. Men and husbands have gotten a pass for so long because they're the breadwinners. But the thing about default
Yeah.
parenting, I know both of us, I mean, you're a content creator. You're an actual content creator, not like me where I stream a couple times a week and then I that I'm going to make other content and then I end up deleting everything I do because I'm a perfectionist and I hate everything that I do. But you're an actual, this is something that you're using to try to make money. This is your career. This is your career choice.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you do have a job and you are
Mhm.
still the person who by default is expected to do all the other things. Like, you never sat down with your husband and was like, all right, I'll schedule the appointments, or you schedule the appointments and I'll drive, because
I
Ozzy doesn't
just do
drive.
it.
And
Hans doesn't
that's,
drive
yeah,
either.
you just do it.
He
You're not,
wants to.
yeah.
To be fair, he wants
I
to.
know
There's
he
not a
does.
complicated thing that he can't. But yeah.
Well, we're
Um,
not picking on him for that, because I understand that there's a lot of complications, but like, just because that's how it is. It's not a choice he made, but
yeah.
like an assumption. I know he's working long hours and stuff too. So it's like, well, how are we going to split up the weekend stuff? How are we going to make this more equitable? So you're at least taking on some of this mental burden that I cannot stop. I cannot stop thinking. Like, even now, we're playing a cozy game, we're hanging out, and I guarantee you, when I'm not on stream doing a podcast and I'm sitting in Discord with my friends, I'm talking about this mental strain. I'm talking about how, oh, this needs to get cleaned, this needs to get organized, this needs to get scheduled. I need to put this on my honey-do list. Nobody's making me a fucking honey-do list. I am making it.
Well,
I am the one. Oh, I did. Oops, we weren't gonna swear. But anyway, like,
it's fine. You can swear, whatever. Like I said, it's a very adult podcast, so.
but it's literally this thing that I can't put down. Nobody is making me a
Yeah.
list. Nobody is
No.
helping me do these things. And when I
Mm-mm.
don't do it, guess what? It
Does not
doesn't
get done.
get done. And
Yeah.
I guess you could
It's
say, because
exhausting.
it's a problem for me, that's a me problem. But we're talking about things like yard care. The sprinklers need to be turned on. I haven't done it yet, and I haven't harassed my husband enough to do it, so our yard is drying up and dying. And I haven't,
And that's the
yeah,
thing. That right there. I haven't harassed my husband
I
enough
haven't
to do
harassed
it.
my husband enough to do
That
it.
sentence. There are, and like we're Bella and I are going to be talking from a sexual relationship standpoint, because we are in
Yeah.
heterosexual relationships, right? That's just how we're going to see it. That's our experience, our personal experience. But that sentence, I haven't harassed my husband enough to do it. There are certain things, at least in our relationship here, where he knows the things that he's supposed to do. He knows the things that he's expected to do, such as vacuum up the floors, mop the floors every now and then, change the cat toilets, take out the trash. Those are kind of like his tasks, right?
Yeah.
His regular tasks. So you'd think that, knowing those tasks, that he'd just think about them and do them whenever he sees the need to do them. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's that thing. Like, I have to remind him, I have to make a list of these things that need to be done. And it's like, nobody's making a list for us. Like, we have to remember our shit. We have to remember our kids' shit. And we
Yeah.
have to remember our husband's shit.
Yep. It's overwhelming.
It's extremely overwhelming. And the thing that's gotten to me recently is I actually watched TikTok about this recently, where the woman was like, whenever I ask my husband to do something, he wants a thank you. That he
Ooh,
he wants me
gross.
to thank him for doing that.
No.
And I'm like, is anybody
That's,
thanking you? Like, I'm sorry. Is he saying, thank you, honey, for cooking? Thank you, honey, for cleaning. Thank you, honey, for managing the whole entire freaking household.
I expect thanks when I cook. My kids frequently do. My husband usually does.
To be fair, I do expect things when I cook. At least, like, thinks it's yummy or something.
I've taught my kids that you should thank somebody for feeding you. So I don't, it's not like I'm
Yes.
like, where's my thank you, kids? But it's absolutely like, I've taught them, and my husband has helped teach them. And honestly, my husband has never been like, where's my thank you for taking out the garbage? I thank him because I know he worked all day, and I know more is more. So I thank him for getting stuff done. Like I said, my husband's up there. He's not one of the ones that is
perfect.
just doing,
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, well, but he's not one of the ones that I feel like we need to, like, come on, step it up. You know, like Wismac just says, come on, hubbies, you need to step it up. Like, it's absolutely this is not a call out for my husband. I'm just giving specific examples of things
General.
in my life where I feel like it resonates, but honestly, I've got a good one, so I'm not looking to upgrade or change them out. So, but it does mean like the whole idea of there's things we can all do better. And as far as default parenting goes, here's some of the things that we, not just for ourselves, but for all default parents, things that would be a really nice change to see. Talk about it before you get married and have kids. No default. Here is a list of
Yeah.
all the stuff that needs to be taken care of when you have kids. Somebody has to make the grocery list and go to the store and do the shopping. Somebody has to scrub the toilets, do the dishes, clean the sinks, clean everything. And if you have a stay at home parent, then make a list of the things that they should be working on when they can, because stay at home moms don't just literally sit around. Taking care of babies and toddlers is so much work. It's exhausting.
Hmm.
It just drains you. So, yeah, like it's going to get away from you, especially when you have multiple kids. Like it really does get away from you. And, like just make a list of everything that needs done and then just be like, here's your
That's
half. Here, like, do it together though. Do it together. Be like, here's your task. Here's my task. We'll change it up as needed. And sometimes it might
mhm.
be like, say my husband gets off to work and forgets to take out the garbage and it's garbage day. He'll text me, hey, could you get the garbage to the curb? Done. Of course. Like, because that's usually his responsibility. So, I mean, I still text him almost every Wednesday and go, did you get the garbage to the curb? He's like, yes, I did. I always do, unless I text you and tell you I didn't. So I probably need to just let up on that one. Let it go. Garbage. He's got it. Anyway, but like, that's the kind of thing where it's like, we need to, no more default, no more just by expectation. It's left to
Mhm.
you. Talk it out.
Like kind of
Figure it out.
talk about like what you imagine a marriage to be like or a life with kids to be like, and like very openly, very honestly, very detailed, and then see if you're maybe your guys' views just 100% aligned, and yay, GG on you. But
Congrats.
otherwise, maybe
You'll meet
see,
those.
yeah, like congrats, you're one in a million. But like otherwise, see where you're willing, both of you are willing to compromise, and if you're willing to compromise,
Yeah. And
right?
if
It's
not,
if you're compromise.
then guess what? You're in for a world of hurt. So,
Mhm.
and that's another thing. Like, it's not necessarily that he's wrong or you're wrong. It's more you're not good as a partnership. That's something you definitely
Yeah.
have to assess. Like, are you going to be good partners? I know Bubby and I did not because we really only had one goal when we were looking for our significant others, and hey, we met that. So we were both of the same religion. So perfect. Let's get married. Well, and we thought the other one was cute. And we wanted to kiss him all the time. Like that's what makes a good spouse, right?
Absolutely. Hmm.
Let's see. Wismac says, me and mine had a discussion on expectations, and when we decided she was going to be a stay at home wife before the kids, then again when the first was born. And since then, it's evolved, most with me picking up more responsibilities over time. Talking it out is a way. It'll change next week. That is such a good point, Wismac. Thank you. It's gonna change. It always
Hmm.
does. Like life changes, the house gets bigger, you've got pets, you've got like, and then just, I mean, all of my dogs that we've had, they were not planned for. We did not plan on getting pets, but like we had to adjust. And I know we don't talk things out as well as we should. We don't plan things out as well as we should because it's work. And at the end of the day, we want to spend the work on talking about it or do we just want to go do the yard work. So sometimes it's easier just to, oh, it'll
Just
be
do work.
fine. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. But we never deal with the immediate issues. We never deal with
Hmm.
the frustrations or, a number of men are finding their wife was a big nagger, and then suddenly she stopped. And they're thinking, ah, everything's good, everything's good. And the next thing you know,
Nope,
they're
buddy, she
getting
stopped
served
caring.
with divorce papers because she didn't care
Or
anymore.
that, yeah.
And she finally got to a point where she's like, I don't like being in a relationship like this.
Mhm.
And you can't make somebody care. You can't make a partner care.
No.
And they're not necessarily wrong for not caring about stuff the way you care about stuff. But it does mean that you might be incompatible. Things might not work out. If you don't work it out, though, things don't just work out. Things don't just work out. You have to work them out. Somebody is doing the work. So, my poor husband, he gets that one a lot because he and his brother, his twin brother, used to like to tell us like everything will work out. And we've really, really gotten on them about it. Like, no, no, no. And this is usually related to like trip stuff, and I'm panicking and stressing out about the holidays or something. And he's like, things will work out. I don't think he says that anymore. Because I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to work it out, or somebody's gonna have to work it out, but they don't just magically work out. And that goes for every issue. Like if things are working out, it's not just this magical thing where everything just comes together and unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes that fall from the sky. Somebody is putting the work in. And you want it to be you. You want it to be you. You want to be proud of what you've built, what you've done. You don't want to rely on the default parent doing all this hidden or unseen labor. And then you just sit back and be like, see, life's good. It all worked out. That's, yeah, that's not healthy. It's
No.
exhausting.
Very.
But
Can confirm.
can confirm.
I
Well,
actually kind of have a story about that.
let's hear it.
About it will all work out.
Oh my
So
gosh. I cannot wait.
this is a few years back. We still have like little, like he still brings us up all the time.
Uh-oh.
We were in Portugal. He needed to get his ID redone, so we went to Portugal to do it. Because he's Portuguese, TLDR. And so we were there, and it was my first time going to Portugal. So I was like, well, if we're gonna go, might as well like stay a couple nights, do some sightseeing, whatnot. Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool. And then I was like making all these plans of what I wanted to see, where I wanted to go, what we should do. And I did ask him several times, what are good places? What do you think we should see? What do you think we should do? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh, we'll see when we get there. And I cannot deal with that. I need a plan,
Yes, absolutely.
And then the whole thing, oh, we'll all work out. Oh, it's okay, whatever. But I ended up making a plan. And we did absolutely go to overexpensive, not great restaurants because
Okay.
of that.
But
But
you had a plan.
I was like, I had a plan. Because I am not able to. And like when your significant other tells you, I need a plan, respect that. Hear them. Respect that. And you know what? Help them make a plan. Especially if you are more aware of, like in this case, of the place that you are visiting. Help them make a plan, right? To this day, I still hear, oh, if you would have just, let me do it, let it just work out, we would have gone to better restaurants and stuff like that. That wasn't the point. The point is that I needed a plan. I needed a I don't know, a sequence of things that we were going to do, an idea of where we were going to be, and yeah, it did all end up working out, but it also only ended up really working out because I had plan Bs in case the
Well,
plan A
yeah.
didn't work.
I mean, and for us
Yeah.
planners, having a little bit of flexibility is good. Like to be able to
Yeah.
say, okay, we're going to be so, I went to Manhattan for first and possibly last time ever. So I actually had it like planned out completely, like the route we were going to
Mhm.
take, like, and it didn't end up going that way exactly, which was fine. But like knowing that here is the area we're going to be in, we can pick from these restaurants here, like having this like base plan, like, because you can easily get overwhelmed. That's another part of like the ADHD, the like, when we were in Manhattan, if you'd said, what do you want to do, my answer would have been like, I want to get away from all these people. There's too many
Mhm.
people everywhere. I feel overwhelmed, I feel overstimulated. I was not in a place to be making a bunch of plans, and I was with two wonderful, loving, kind, amazing individuals who are so easygoing. They're like, I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? So it was kind of like, if I hadn't had the base plan, we would have just stood around in New York City and been like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Until I finally was like, we're
Yeah.
getting on the subway and we're going back to Jersey because I can't do this. But like, it takes work. I spent hours. I powwowed with George from Zero Period Productions. A plug for George. He's a good friend of mine. He is from New York, and he sat for like 2 hours, and we talked about the stuff to do
Bless.
and where to go. Yeah, he was amazing. He loves to do it. Like, real. We'll be real. He loves to talk about New York and all the places to go and things to do. And I ended up doing most of the things that we discussed doing because, like, it felt like I had this approval from an actual New Yorker. But if we
Mhm.
hadn't had that baseline, like, I was adding in space to do other things. Like, if they're like, oh, here's a store, let's go in. Let's, like, we weren't on a tight schedule or anything. But by the end of the day and walking 20,000 steps and being on my period and being like exhausted and like all these other things, I was so overwhelmed in the moment that if we hadn't had a plan, we wouldn't have done anything. So it was something to keep in mind when you have like Christmas magic or when you have an amazing trip. It didn't just work out. Either hired a travel agent, you found a local who loves to talk about it, or somebody spent hours of research. But it's even with like, Twixter, who was our guide, and very easygoing, wonderful, fun, was very helpful. I'm not talking smack about him. But like he was like, I don't know, what do you want to do? So it's like he kept us like going the right places. He was very, very helpful, but without that structure, it all just kind of falls apart. So you've got to put the work and the energy. But I feel like we definitely got a little bit off topic, but not too far.
Definitely, but I can bring us back
Bring
with
it
what you
back.
just said.
Bring
You
it
ready? You
home.
ready?
I'm ready.
Default parent Christmas magic.
Oh my
It
gosh.
doesn't just happen.
Doesn't just
There's a
happen.
lot there is a lot of extra. So we're already exhausted from normal stuff, right? Normal everyday, year
Right,
in,
the
year out stuff.
holidays. Oh my gosh, the dreaded
And then the holidays
holidays.
come, oh my god. Up until I wanna say when was the last time I really, really enjoyed Christmas? I think when it was just me and Fonzie. Just the two of us, nobody visiting, no kid, just the two of
No
us because it was just
expectations.
I mean, honestly, back then even I still planned the Christmas, but it was just for the two of us.
Yeah,
It wasn't oh my god, like last
production.
year. Yeah. We had my best friend here over for Christmas and she has I mean, this is like a huge compliment in a way, but like she has never really had great Christmases until she started spending them with me.
Okay.
Um, because she was like, "Oh, you just make Christmas so magical." And that's like so sweet in a way, right? But also to make Christmas so magical takes a lot of work.
Yes.
It takes a lot of work. And especially like um this year, I was like making Christmas magical for her, for the hubby, for our kid. and planning, like everyone, like this general consensus was like, oh, we're gonna go out on the 24th daytime to the mountains to go sledding and everything like that, and then we're gonna go like when we come home and stuff, we're gonna um have some snacks, do present stuff early because kid needs to go to bed early, and and then we're gonna cook dinner.
That's a lot.
Note that the whole time there was this we are going to do this, we are going to do that, and we are going to do that. All of that we was just
You.
me wrangling everyone so that everything was happening the way that we wanted it to happen. Um, and like in the morning, the plan was to go out first thing in the morning. Everybody was supposed to get ready before the baby wakes up, so that when the baby wakes up, we just grab the baby and we go, right?
Yeah, like you need to do when you've got a full day planned and a baby or toddler. Yeah.
And I was up and I was getting ready and I was like looking at them and I'm like, I was like, do you guys not want to get it ready? And they're like, oh yeah, yeah, but we have time. And I'm like, you already know where this is going. Baby got up before them. Baby was ready before them. Nobody else was ready. I don't think we got out before midday, and we were supposed to get out like 10 a.m. max.
And at that point in time,
So
baby needs another nap, baby needs fed, baby needs a diaper change. Like
exactly. And so we were
yeah.
like on that time pressure schedule, and it's like, me trying to hold everything dangling on a thread, trying to hold everything together to keep that Christmas magic going. And I hate it because you know of all people how much I love Christmas.
I know you love
But
Christmas.
it kind of sucks the magic out for yourself.
Yeah, oh,
You're so busy creating
absolutely.
this magic for everyone else. But then
Yes.
because you are the default, you are just expected to do these things, you don't have any magic left for yourself. And
That's
that's kind of really sad.
it is sad. And that's where, especially with your little one being so young and she doesn't have a ton of expectations, where you have to really examine what traditions, what things are most important to you, and what things you let go.
Yeah.
Like your friend,
Yeah.
who I know and think is cute, wonderful, and stuff, that's like, oh, but Christmas is so magical with you, is someone who is living on borrowed childhood. Like, could you see me coming over around Christmas time? For whatever reason, I'm coming over for Christmas without my kids. Let's say I show up at your door and I'm there
No.
and you're like, okay, well, we've got all this stuff to do for Christmas. Could you see me sitting on my butt and being like, great, make Christmas magic happen for me, Luna?
No.
I'm an adult. What am I going to do? What do you need me to do? You need me to be up at a certain time? I'll be up at a certain time. You want me to take over?
Mhm.
I'll do mashed potatoes. You're doing the roast. Like when you
Mhm.
have multiple adults, the expectation is that the Christmas magic will happen as everybody works together and
Mhm.
makes it happen together. And the kids get to be the
And
kids and enjoy this festive, happy time of family spending time together.
yeah, and I will say that I actually talked to my husband afterwards with it, and I was like, I have no energy, I have no magic, I feel sad. Like I felt sad. Like
Yeah.
really, really sad.
Yeah.
And he did end up helping me make dinner, which was really kind of him. Really appreciate that he did do that, that he was like, okay, I can see you're not happy. Let me see if I can help,
Yeah.
And he
There's
did say
always
that in the
something.
future he wants to, and this is a big one, he wants to communicate better
Oh,
throughout
good.
Christmas so that it can
Good.
be more equally magical or, less strained for me and stuff. So there is that. But like I just that's something I didn't notice. I didn't realize how bad that would get with a kid.
Well, and then you turn
And like I love
into,
my kid. Like
of
I regret
course.
having my kid. I
No,
adore my kid.
you're
I
allowed to
I I
complain
wouldn't. Yeah, but
without hating
like
your kid. It's okay.
um but it's still as somebody who, I was that person, guys. I watched Christmas movie, at least one Christmas movie every single morning. I would get up. This was my Christmas routine. During December, mid-November to like end of December, I would get up every morning, make myself a hot chocolate, grab myself a yummy breakfast, whatever I wanted, and sit down, first turn on all of my Christmassy candles, sit down and watch a Christmas movie. That was my Christmas routine. I
Pre-kid.
haven't done that pre-kid. Pre-kid. I haven't done that since before I got pregnant. Like even when I was pregnant, I couldn't smell anything.
I know.
Everything made me want to vomit, you know?
Yes, I do. I worked in your kitchen a few times to help with that. But here's the thing coming from an older mom um perspective.
Back in my day.
Back
Sorry.
in my day, you young whippersnapper. No, this is also something we do to ourselves. There are things we can let go of. There are things that we
Yeah.
do not have to do to ourselves. We don't have
Mhm.
to force ourselves to give up this Christmas movie. I watch Christmas movies all Christmas time long. Like I'm holed up in my room with some chocolate in my bed with my electric blanket and I'm watching some lady who inherits an inn and some handsome lumberjack and they have this like falling out and then they end up falling in love and they're engaged after 4 days at the special town center winter. Like I love these movies. They're terrible and I love them. And I will not give that up, but I've had to adapt. I've had to change. I'm not binge watching Christmas movies all Christmas season. I sometimes have to do it in the evenings, like after the kids are in bed or when they're busy doing their own things. And
Yeah.
then what else can we let go of? Just the last 2 years, my sister and I, La and I, we are actually doing Christmas together forever. I've just decided because she is also like the queen of Christmas magic. And 2 years ago,
Okay.
she said, "Bella, let's get it catered." She's like, "It's $300 for all of us to have Christmas completely catered."
Can I come to your house for Christmas?
Yes, yes, you can. Well, it's in Vegas. You'll have to come to Vegas. There's no snow, but
Okay,
there's a hot
that's
tub,
fine.
and I set up my projector on the wall near the hot tub, and we watch Christmas movies and sip cocktails and soak in the hot tub. It's beautiful.
That sounds like a dream, like,
It
for real.
is. It
Oh my
is. But like
god.
when she did that, the first year I was kind of skeptical. I was like, okay. And like the full meal, like pies, salads, appetizers, the big turkey. I think it was prime rib for Christmas last year. Like it all came and we just laid it out on the table. We dressed in a fancy outfit. We sipped on our champagne. We
Catered
just
Christmas dinner, huh?
and we just split the $300. Like and she obviously is pitching in more because my kids are eating a ton of that. And we ate leftovers for like 5 days. I kid you not.
Oh my
We're gonna
god.
so we had like basically 4 or 5 days of meals for $300 and it was like all we had to do is drive out and pick it up and then reheat it. It was glorious. And it was like I'm never looking back because the last
I need
time
someone to come close my mouth here, like, I'm so, like, amazed, like, oh, this
uh,
really sounds like a dream to me.
it is. But when I don't have the catered Christmas dinner, or I guess Christmas is happening at her house forevermore, but like Thanksgiving, I try to do with my family here, and I like really getting into like what can I prep, what can I not be fiddly with, and it
Mhm.
really just pull it out of the fridge, set it out on the table, and not spend all day on my feet. Because the last time I did that, I literally like got dinner on the table. I sat down for a minute and I fell asleep because I had been running myself ragged for 3 days complete
Mhm.
to put on Christmas, or I guess it was Thanksgiving. I don't remember which holiday it was, but like it was just run, run, run between me and my one of my sisters. I don't think the other one was there that year. Just for our kids and our husbands. 3 days. I didn't sit still. I cleaned, I cooked. And as soon as the prime rib was on the table, I sat down and basically passed out because I
Yep.
couldn't. I was done. I'd run myself and I succeeded and I just collapsed. And I won't do that anymore. Like I will let it be what it is. Have tacos and cookies. Like do whatever you need to have that magic, because the magic isn't what you eat. The magic isn't in the whether you made the cookies or whether you bought them. The magic is in those moments where you're sitting together as a family, maybe watching the snow come down, maybe sitting by your sparkly Christmas tree and watching a movie. Like I watching Home Alone with my kids. I watched that movie so much as a kid, being able to share that with them. The magic is in the memories you make with the people you care about.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we do to ourselves through guilt, shame, and shoulding all over ourselves. I should be making a fancy Christmas dinner. I should be home making 12 different types of cookies. I should be,
Oh my
like
god.
we do it to ourselves. And that's
The cookies is
something,
where I've given up recently because I
yes,
really
give up
hate the
on.
cleanup. I despise the I like the cookie cutting.
Okay.
The cookie cutting is really nice. But I despise the cleanup of
Did
like
you
making your own
know
cookies.
that you
You
could
can buy
make,
cookie dough.
you can buy cookie
Um,
dough. You can also make and freeze cookie dough for up to 3 months.
I did not know that
So you
one.
could actually make the cookie dough and cut it out and store it on the get like the wax paper and
Mhm.
stack them up like that. And then you can take them out and pop them in the oven, like straight into the oven, especially for the sugar cookies, 3 months later. So you could do cookie prepping one little batch at a time starting in August.
Oh wow.
La la mom hacks. Anyway,
Something to
so
think about.
yeah, well, I've started doing when I make cookies because we will eat too many. We'll just eat them and eat them and eat 'em, and we don't need that. I actually started like baking like a dozen of them and then putting the rest of the dough into balls and freezing them in Ziploc baggies, and then you can just bake
Mm.
a few at a time. So, and the house smells amazing, and you don't have to eat a dozen cookies before they go stale. So, anyway, that was definitely off track. But we need to start looking at what we can give up, what we can change, how we can adapt, so we're not putting too much on ourselves. Because,
Important question to ask. Is
okay,
your kid happy? Is your kid fed?
yes,
Yes. If those two are checked, is your kid healthy? Check. Then all of the rest, take a hard look at it and see what you can just yeet off your plate. It doesn't even have to be eating it off permanently, but maybe just,
yeah,
rotate one extra thing in at a time and
yep,
swap it out with something else.
let it go. Make your cookies in August.
Yeah,
And of course, Luna is talking to herself here because she is still learning this valuable lesson, and so am I. And it comes with
absolutely.
time and like recognizing that it's not always going to be as hard as it is today. Like the holidays are not as hard with 3 kids in their preteen teen years as it was with a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 6-year-old. Like
Oh,
those
I can't
those
even. I can't even.
those
No,
days were
no, I quit.
exhausting,
I
and
quit.
I barely remember them, honestly. But like now is
I don't blame
actually
you.
a lot more fun. The kids are, and I feel like the kids are for the most part happy and healthy. And,
See, and I actually feel a little bit of shame there for like I've always imagined having 2 kids. The imagination of having 2 kids came before I had like one kid. Um, and it's just like I am finally starting to slowly feel like myself again. Like I'm slowly getting
yep,
myself back a little bit.
absolutely.
And I don't know if I want to give that up
I
again,
You don't have to.
And I feel guilty for saying that even like
This isn't helpful, but knock it off. Like straight up. First of all, please recognize that your body is definitely uh we're inclined to want to have babies. Like it is something that a
yeah.
lot of us, it's in our genetics, it's in our genes.
Oh
This
my
is
god, every
this is
time I see
how.
a baby when I go out and I'm
Yes.
like, "Oh my god, look, wouldn't it be cute having another one?"
Maybe you could look at it as it only took once for you to find the wisdom not to do it again. It took me 3 times. And even then, after so much went on with the last pregnancy, I still was like, maybe we should have another one. And my husband was like, I'm getting a vasectomy. Not like he decided it like universally, like, without my help, but he was all like, no, we're good. It's okay.
He's like, no, Bella, this is it. This is the end.
You know you don't actually want to have more. You just want babies. And I finally hit on it what it is for me, and probably for a lot of other women. If you think about when you see that cute little baby, is it that you feel like you're missing somebody from your family? Or do you miss when your baby looked like that? Do you need somebody to help
For me, it's
complete your
neither
family?
of that.
Okay.
For me, it's more the fact I grew up an only child,
Oh,
and I hated
yeah.
it.
Oh,
I hated being an only child. I think partially I hated because, like, my best friend was the younger sibling of somebody else, and so she was
oh.
always like, "Oh, I'm gonna go play with my sibling now," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I had to end up playing by myself a lot. And, I guess I don't want that for her. But also, I don't think that's a good enough reason to be like, I should go and have second kid
It's not.
because I'm worried my kid might end up. And honestly, the way she's so different from me. Like
Yep.
already, like she is such a force of nature. Like
Yes, she is.
that girl has temperament. I cannot every single person that's taking care of her, like for a day after that day, they're like, I want a vacation. I'm not saying my kid is terrible, but she's incredibly active. She's she makes it very apparent when she does not like something,
Mm-hmm.
and she will not give up if she wants something that you will not give to her. Like she will remember that an hour later and still try and go and get that thing. She's just yeah.
She, like you said, an absolute force of nature. She's either going to save the world or destroy it, and you're not quite sure
Yeah.
which. Yes, that's my middle
Yeah.
child.
Yes. A little bit afraid. A little bit
Don't
afraid,
be.
not gonna lie.
Don't be. It'll mellow out. It will.
So, taking that into account, I was always a bit more of a mellow child. And comparing the two, I honestly think she will be fine as an only child. Like if
Yeah.
I end up not having a second one, I honestly think she will be fine because she is so yeah. And I'm like, I'm doing everything I currently can with the knowledge I have to make sure that she doesn't get the social anxieties that I had from a young age on. Like the daycare thing, which I do partially feel guilty about because I'm like, oh my God, I'm basically eating my child away for 2 afternoons a week. I'm such a bad mom.
So much
Which I know
guilt.
is stupid, but um, I'm doing it more for her than for me. I mean, for me, it's nice because then I get those days to stream, which has been really, really nice. But I also know that if a child gets to explore how to interact with other children from an early age on, they don't have that much of a problem building friendships when they later enter school.
Yes. I think there's got to be studies on that.
Oh, there is. There
Yeah.
is. I have when I was in university, I thoroughly studied this, and I thoroughly back then already made a plan of how I'm going to raise my child with that in mind. So
There you go. Because my kids didn't have that. They had each other. But yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, so but you're talking about a lot of guilt that you carry.
sorry.
Guilt
I'll
for
shut up.
oh my God. Well, I didn't say you can never talk about it because yeah, we don't want you to be silent forever, but
It's another
the
podcast.
guilt for giving your child exactly what you know she needs because you feel selfish doing so. It's a lot to examine. And, maybe when I get my psychology degree and a couch and I'll come visit, I'll help you work through that. But I think that there's a lot of unnecessary guilt we're all carrying with us. And
Absolutely.
It's
The
yeah.
internet doesn't help. The
No,
internet does not help, you
sure
guys. Like, you
doesn't.
look at you're scrolling through TikTok or YouTube or, whatnot, and you see all these, I'm gonna say it, perfect, the important word here is seemingly perfect moms doing it all, taking care of their children, baking everything, cooking everything from scratch, and doing all these, great explorative walks with them and letting them play with flour and clay and I'm talking about like young kids, by the way. I'm not talking about 6-year-olds and stuff. I'm talking about like 2 or less year olds, doing all these things, and then you're like, wow, I'm a really shitty mom. No, you're not. And I'm telling this to myself too. You're a real mom. You're not an internet mom creating all this content. And honestly, they might do it all in one day like that, but what kind of support do they have behind the
No,
scenes that we
they're
don't
not
see?
you. It's not your story. It's not your
No.
situation. And that's really what it comes down to. Even if you see something that looks like it's super real, or you've seen it in real life. I've seen moms like that in real life, by the way, Luna. The gentle parent. They've got their kids doing all these extensive activities. Their kids never have more than an hour of screen time a day. I've seen they homeschool all their kids. They make their own flour. They grow their own stuff. I've seen, well, a mom like that. And the thing to remember is that I'm not her. We have very different
No.
lives. We have very different
Yep.
dispositions. I'm not
Yep.
shaming her for what she does because I think she's incredible, but that's not who I am. That's not my abilities. And our abilities lie in other things. So
Mhm.
I think that
Yeah.
might be decent to wrap it up. Have it finish with today. No idea
Yeah.
how long we went today.
No idea either because we didn't make a call. We went on a Discord channel, so it doesn't
Oh
say
my
how long.
gosh. That's what we did different. That's what I need to do
Yeah.
next time. Oops. Oh well. Sorry.
I just noticed. I wanted to see how long we were going. I was like, oh,
I think it's about 2 hours. I think that was a 2-hour podcast. So,
2-hour podcast.
yeah.
Oof.
Well, have
Oof.
fun
Might have to
editing
do some bit
that.
more cutting. Thanks.
Well, thank you
Oh
all
my
for
goodness.
listening. We'll
Be
be back
kind
in
to
2 weeks.
yourselves.
Yes, be kind to yourselves. Let
Take
that
some
guilt
things off
go.
your plate.
And yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks with some other unknown topic that we may or may not decide on the day of. Who knows? Find
I
out
will
in
be
2
better, I
weeks.
promise.
It's
I will respond this time.
all good.
But yeah, I'm Luna Romy. I get called Luna because Luna, and you can find me on Twitch and on Blue Sky and on Twitter. We don't call it the other app. The other app sucks. And TikTok and YouTube. Yep. And this is the co-host, my co-host. I'm her co-host. I don't know how to call it.
I saw on
Take it
Twitch.
away.
We're co-hosts together. We're
Yes.
partners. This is my partner,
Partners.
Luna. I'm Bella. Sleeping Bella on Twitch. Sleeping Bella ZZZZ. Just add some Z's on the end till you can't. Blue Sky and Instagram and yeah, and we are here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time.
Yeah, I also stream. No, I stream. What do I stream, Bella? Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Yes, that's it. That's
You want
yeah.
me to remember your schedule? I barely remember mine.
My schedule is actually going to change soon because May's coming up and daycare hours are changing. So that's
Well,
going to be fun.
we'll adjust it then. So, all right, take care,
All right.
everyone. Thanks
Well,
for
thank you for
listening.
listening. Bye.
Bye.